Chairman Gosar, thank you very much for the opportunity to be part of this hearing today. I joined because I wanted to have some input into this discussion about the Biden administration's Fish and Wildlife Service introduction of the 10J rule that truly has the potential, and I think has proven to have grave consequences, not only on my constituents, but visitors to the northern part of my district, and as you've heard from other members of Congress, other states in the country. Against the will of my constituents, the Biden administration decided to move forward last year, finalizing a rule to establish get this, non-essential experimental population of grizzly bears into my district. Now, this decision is a long time in the making, over a decade of public meetings, comment periods, over 2 administrations, Republican and Democrat. My constituents have submitted numerous comments, almost too many to count, as well as have come here to Washington, D.C. to testify, and that's not a short distance from the state of Washington. They've attended every public meeting available to describe the potential major negative impacts that the introduction of another apex predator will have into their backyards. And yes, I said another. The Canadian gray wolf has already wreaked havoc across my district for farmers, for ranchers, even for specialty crop growers, making it nearly impossible to shelter their operations from a predator that truly knows no bounds. So I appreciate every single one of the witnesses that are here to testify on the impacts of these experimental populations of predators. First of all, I'd like to ask Mr. Clark a question, and thank you for making the long trek out here to Washington, D.C. You described in your testimony the negative impacts of such a designation in our state, and I think you did that extremely well. Could you talk a little bit more about how the previous administration ignored constituents and the impact that a dual predator load could have on operations such as yours and your neighbors?
So like you mentioned, we had an extensive process over the last decade and a half of this reintroduction or introduction happening. It was overwhelmingly a negative response at all the public meetings, all the comments. We raised a lot of concerns that we felt like were not addressed properly. And so kind of the last minute of the last administration, we felt like they just shoved this through quickly. So, and as far as what the second part of your question again,
just wanted to know if the administration ignored our constituents, which I believe you answered that, but also the impact of having these dual predators to you and your neighbors.
So we've already been dealing with a significant population of wolves for the past about 15 years. And so that has had a devastating effect on the local wildlife population, especially the large ungulates, deer and elk populations. So by introducing the grizzly bear, in my opinion, there's not going to be enough food source for both grizzlies and wolves to not have a bigger impact on the livestock industry than they would have if there was only one of those species there.
Yeah, that's the point that we've been trying to make, that bears eat a lot. They're going to be dropped into places that are supposedly a long ways away from population centers, but where are they going to go for their food? And that's to where the people live. Mr. LaValle, or excuse me, Mrs. LaValle, apologize, Mr. Dobson, as well as Mr. Clark, I wanted you to comment, if you could, on what I heard Mr. Huffman say. He's of the belief that the impacts of wolves and bears are, in his words, exaggerated. Do any of you guys think that you are exaggerating the impacts to your farms or to your ranches? Or maybe are the impacts not being verified? Could that be part of the answer?
That's an excellent question. As been alluded to before, there is a big percentage of the depredations that go unreported because of our frustration with the process. And so there's, you know, in my opinion, a large portion of those that never get reported. And then they're, as far as being exaggerated, I welcome you to come visit sometime and I'll show him firsthand.
Oh, awesome. We'll extend that invitation. Realize I'm out of time, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say I appreciate all the witnesses coming and testifying, and also appreciate the efforts of Mr. Tiffany and Ms. Bobert of bringing this issue to the forefront. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.